But it just was like it's shot in black and white. I don't know why.
Art.
Yeah.
It's art. It's art, man.
Hit it. We're back.
Okay, we're back. And so now Bob. Hey, look, it's kind of in order. It doesn't continue like that.
Was planned,
I know.
Oh, no, because Lon did the Lost King, right? So he's...
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, hi, folks. Maestro. I was thinking recently, that on this show, on these review shows, that I'm usually bringing in a movie that I've seen and I really liked and I want to share with people. Maestro, I was really curious to see because I loved West Side Story. Leonard Bernstein was a very prominent personality in New York when I was a young man. All the high school girls who saw the movie West Side Story, they all had crushes on Leonard Bernstein. And I thought, well, he's done this interesting stuff. Boy, was I wrong. What a boring piece of crap. I mean, this.
Oh, I'm so relieved.
This movie, I don't know what the hell this movie was supposed to be about. Was it about his wife, who they're talking about how she was this successful actress? Now, folks, I'm not a young man. I was around. I was watching television all the time. Mm-hmm. I was going to see shows. I never heard of this woman, and they're talking about like what a celebrated actress she was. And as far as Bradley Cooper goes, I really like Bradley Cooper's acting until now. I don't know what the hell he's doing with this voice that didn't sound like Leonard Bernstein. No. Didn't sound like any human being, and it was like the most annoying sound I've ever heard on a screen, and it went on for over 2 hours. And he didn't look like Leonard Bernstein. He looked like a madman when they would have these shots of conducting.
The shots of the nose.
I'm conducting, and the music that he conducted outside of West Side Story. P.U. Sorry, it stunk. It was boring music. I'll tell you this. This guy was great in terms of encouraging young talent. I remember, that he was like the first person who brought Janice Ian, who none of you are going to remember anyway.
I certainly do.
But he when she was 17 years old,
when she was
did this
17,
song called "Society's Child," which is what really put her on the map. He was her biggest supporter, and he'd bring her on television, and because they would have these like Sunday afternoon culture shows in New York.
See, that's more than I knew in those 2 hours in the movie. It told you nothing about Leonard Bernstein.
Leonard Bernstein, they kept pronouncing it Bernstein, so I'm going to use that pronunciation.
I'm going to go wild, Bernstein. I always was told.
It's fine. So Patty will be our designated Bernsteiner.
Yeah.
But it just was like it's shot in black and white. I don't know why.
Art.
Yeah.
It's art. It's art, man.
I couldn't find art. I mean, I must say, like, I think the only actor I really liked in it was Maya Hawke, who played their oldest daughter. Because I like her, and I've seen her in a lot of things, and I really think she's a very good actress. I couldn't understand why Matt Bomer, who is a talented actor, was given third billing when he's got a very small part in the beginning of the movie and then just disappears. And like trying to keep track of who's who and all this stuff. It was just...
Maybe he went to do Superman. It was just like Henry Cavill.
He got me. Matt Bomer didn't do any Superman thing anyway.
No, he didn't.
He resembled Henry Cavill. Okay, yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, I mean, it was. I'm not going to apologize for picking this movie, but I expected so much more from it. I mean.
Me too.
I thought, wow, Leonard Bernstein, he's great. Well, I walked away from it saying, well, he's not so hot. Why are they making a movie about him? And then I talked to a friend of mine who saw him interviewed, and he was talking about how proud he was of all the training he did for the voice. I will say this: the makeup was pretty astonishing, but it made me wonder: is this like some kind of encroachment into AI? Because he really did look like his skin and everything looked like the right age, but they
focused on his nose. Every angle was at a bad position to show how big his nose was. That's all it was.
But I mentioned that to Susie too, that when he's older and sitting on the piano, Wow, how did they do that? The skin looks so realistic that even the neck and everything.
Makeup, but makeup. I think makeup and maybe AI. But they didn't mention the AI part. And since there's just been this big union strike that has to do with the use of AI, I'm a little concerned about that. But anyway, if you're interested in Leonard Bernstein, not so much watch it AI. Out of curiosity, but
watch a documentary.
Huh? Not so much AI, but CGI.
Yeah, CGI, right.
I don't know. Maybe.
It never mentions it, and all the things
CGI, I think, is much more noticeable than this was, though. That's why I'm wondering if this was AI and why they're worried about it, because, you can see people who it looks like they are.
No matter what it was a bad movie.
It was, to me, I'll put it this way. I didn't like it.
Okay. I had, again, so many issues with this movie. I know that he had done, what's the movie he did before with Lady Gaga?
Star is Born.
Star is Born.
Yeah.
So I seems to like those kind of romantic things, which I don't. Right. So I wasn't expecting to particularly like it, but I love Carey Mulligan. I thought she was okay. First of all, for the first half of the movie, nothing made sense. I was like, it was so disjointed. I couldn't tell.
Very much so. Yes.
Who, it's like, what happened to that guy? And and it's like, it seemed to be about his wife. Yeah. And that's fine, but why call it Maestro? Because I didn't learn anything about Leonard Bernstein.
I just not to interrupt or anything like that, but I do know that he claimed that they chose to make the story about their relationship. So that's why, because she's also billed ahead of him in the thing.
They didn't even do that.
But, okay.
I don't think they succeeded in it, but that's what the aim was.
Okay, I don't, like I said, how many times have I seen this story? It's like Queen, Cole Porter. It's like the guy's gay, he's married, and it causes issues. Like,
it didn't even cause issues, really.
Well, it did. It caused her a great deal of issues. And actually, I felt like she was the only one in the movie who wasn't over the top. She was just she actually acted, and I actually was okay with her performance. And what I thought took the cake was the last scene. Maestro goes to casa, and who's in the picture? Carey Mulligan, his wife, right? And she turns and she walks away. It's like, shouldn't he be in the picture?
They should have called him.
I see him.
No, they should have called him Maestro.
Spoilers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I just really didn't get that. It's like, why? What is this about?
If you had said, like, hey, here's a movie about Leonard Bernstein's wife, the 5 people who showed up probably wouldn't have hung out too long.
Exactly. And it's like, I know there's another one. Cole Porter.
Yeah.
Queen.
The Cole Porter one is a really good movie.
It's a really good movie. Yeah. But it's not like the actual, the production, it reminded me of like a lot of music today where the production is great. The band is great. The rhythm section is great. There's no song, right? There's no song. It's like, so you couldn't hum it, but it's got a big production. That's how this movie was.
Well, that's interesting that you point that out, because now that I'm thinking of it, they here he is conducting. Hey, wasn't that a great performance? I mean, you didn't hear the music because the music was too boring to listen to. It would have put you to sleep.
But why did he have to have her come in on the end? It's like, what has she got to do with anything?
Well, because as I said, their aim was to make it the story about the two of them, and I think that's why she's billed above he is.
Call it the Maestro's wife.
The Maestro's marriage. the gay Maestro's marriage.
Well, which one of them is the Maestro? I guess
the Maestro's wife. Yeah.
Well, she's not the Maestro. What did she do?
Well, she's supposed to be this like really well-known actress. I never heard of her.
Well, nobody has heard of her.
We never saw anything she did.
No, I know, but I mean, there was all this. Even when I looked it up about it, they say, she was this very successful actress in New York. Well, I was in New York then. She was doing all these TV shows. I saw all these TV shows.
Maybe stage
she was doing stage. Yeah. She was doing all the stage work. I saw a lot of stage work. Never heard of her.
Right.
I never heard of her.
Yeah, so I don't get it. And she really didn't participate much in his life. I mean, excuse me, my voice is going, but too much party. So it's kind of like, how, I just, okay, everything, they are so in love. They are the most in love people you've ever seen.
As long as he can have a guy.
And then,
who cares?
All of a sudden, halfway through the movie, they're not in love. Well, it's like, when did she find this out? When did she know about this? Because up to now, everything's been like great.
I thought she knew about it from the get-go.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
When she's walking up, he finishes a performance.
He goes with the guy.
I know, at the party.
Yeah.
And they're in the hallway, and she said, "Don't ever let me see that." She knew.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying she didn't. She knew, but we don't know that she knew.
Well, that's kind of supposed to.
Well, I kind of got that was the case, because I think there was even some dialogue early on. She said, "Look, I don't care. You have your life. I have my life." But then when she saw it, it affected her. She said, "Oh, well, I don't want to see that."
Well, I didn't. Ooh, you took it that way. I didn't take it that way. I took it like, I'm an actress. You're a conductor.
You're a blowhard.
We have our thing, and you overact constantly. I mean, it was just so. The performance by Bradley Cooper, I thought was just terrible.
It was awful.
He was so over the top. Talk about the Japanese movie we were talking about.
They were mild.
They were.
They had Godzilla. He had Carey Mulligan.
Carey Mulligan was okay. I think Carey Mulligan
I don't agree with you on that. I thought she was pretty awful too, and I think she's a good actress.
I thought she was good.
Yeah.
But she was the only one that was any good.
My heart.
But her character is like, why am I seeing so much of her? I'm watching a movie called Maestro. Shouldn't I know about his musical career?
You're watching a movie called Maestro.
Leave it alone, Bob.
No.
That's right, because he was called Maestro.
Maestro.
Makes it a different movie.
My turn. As I continue this barrage.
I pronounce all the vowels.
Hey, we're learning Spanish. Everything's different to us now.
Yeah, it's Italian, not Spanish. Yeah. It's like Villa Via.
Okay. Yeah. I grew up with Leonard Bernstein, and so I really was hoping for a biopic.
Well, if you grew up with him, you knew him better.
I did. But when I saw this movie, I did not see one thing more to teach me anything new about him. They didn't even touch on West Side Story.
No, they played a couple of bars, and that was it. That was the highlight of the movie.
I'm sorry, the relationship between, and they all talk so weird. No relationship. Nobody talks like that in a relationship. Yeah.
Well, there was that one argument I thought was good.
They didn't even have a decent argument.
On top of each other. They just kept talking.
Nobody talks like that.
I just couldn't figure out, why didn't she leave him?
Yeah, well, why?
You go. She's an actress herself.
The affairs with guys, no need to put it in. Why? Like, if they had maybe, like, that guy, was it Jess Oppenheimer? That's who he was having that was his kind of relationship on the side. They didn't even get into that. It had been different. It was like they just threw a couple of things in. It was horrible. Mm-hmm. And it shows you what promo does, because they're making it like the best movie ever. It was artsy, and it's like all they cared about was
Can I get a
shot pretty?
Can I get an Academy Award out of this?
Like, if I want pretty, I'll go to a museum. You know what I mean?
I think in terms of can they get an Academy Award out of this, that has to do with why she's top billed, because nobody's going to give him an Academy Award.
Why? Everybody
I don't think anybody will give her. She was not that good.
I don't think. I agree with you. I don't think so either. But I think that was maybe the plan, because they did. It was like, is it about their relationship? So let's give her top billing, so we know it's about the relationship and not just about him.
And make it a movie.
Just about him.
And make it a realistic about their relationship. Mm-hmm. But no, it was so bad. I couldn't believe how bad it was.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I probably didn't hate it as much as you guys did, but I will say this. See, I didn't mind the performances, because my thing is, like you, I grew up seeing Leonard Bernstein conduct and stuff on television.
Right.
That he was or Bernstein.
Bernstein.
I was going to say, I always say Bernstein.
It's like
me too.
Like a Mel Brooks movie.
Yep. And the thing is, I never knew what his personality was. I never heard him speak that much. No. So to me, what Bradley Cooper was doing, I thought was fine, because I didn't know him well enough. I haven't seen him speak that much. I saw him.
Right.
I do remember I always had respect, because if I'm not mistaken, in the early 80s, there was some kind of protest going on about Broadway, and I can't remember what it was. And I remember Christopher Reeve was there and Leonard Bernstein or Stein was there, and he got arrested. He literally himself got arrested, and Christopher Reeve said no, because I'm not going to get arrested. This is after Superman. I'm law abiding in a way. So I sort of admired him for doing Bernstein or Stein stepping up to that. But for the most part, I agree with you. I wanted to see about his life because that's what I did know about. I knew really very little about him except of sort of his career as a composer conductor. He had been married, and then once his wife died, that he supposedly had the affair with the man, right?
Oh, he's been having
and he had children. That was another thing, right? So it's like, okay. And I thought, I guess either one, because of the title, I'm expecting you were going to see what his genius was in the music world. Or we're going to see, I'm assuming, the relationship between him and his wife, because he obviously did have affairs with men. So that probably interfered it somehow. And yet you got glimpses of it, but I walked out thinking, I see none of anything that was supposedly genius, or even people talking about what a genius he was. You don't really get that. It's all this weird dialogue being thrown left and right. And yet they're always like dropping names like Jerome Robbins or Aaron Copland. And, one scene I did know when they said Adolph and Betty, at least I knew who they were, but for the most part, I didn't know who a lot of these people. I was shocked to hear that she was an actress and a known one at that time point. Cause I went and said, who is this woman? I look her up and same thing with Bob. It's like, wow, she actually had a huge career that people at that time period.
How come none of us have heard of her?
Well, that happens. We know that. We know that you could be the star of a TV show.
Not to the degree that they're saying
I disagree.
She was successful.
I disagree.
She wasn't that successful.
I disagree, especially when you're a New York actress. Because I'm sorry, you can be a stage actress and I won't know you. You can be
I'm from New York. I'm from the whole New York acting scene.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was a television addict. I would go to the theater when I could. I never heard of this woman.
She's a working actress. That's what it sounds like.
Maybe she's big in Chile.
Maybe there's like some society aspect to it or something like that.
Okay, another point. I'm sorry, excuse me for one moment. That was another thing. Her accent kept changing constantly. She would have an American accent. She would have an English accent. At the end of the movie, she started to have a Spanish accent. But it was like...
Well, she probably learned it from the maid.
No, it wasn't Spanish, but it was Latin because she was part...
She's Costa Rican.
Costa Rican. There we go. Yeah, exactly.
But she was... But in the beginning, I thought we were like, is she American or English? Because sometimes she would have an English accent.
The accent will come out.
And sometimes she was
Madonna.
That's what made me laugh about it. Because I actually did like both their performances. Because again, I said, I don't know what Leonard Bernstein's like. Because at one point, there's this weird scene where he goes, I got to get myself under control. Like I said, he bugs his eyes and does that. I thought, would Leonard Bernstein do that? But knowing artists the way they are eccentric. Now, in case of what you just mentioned right there, I just thought that was the whole thing what Bob had said, that here was this woman who came from money, right, and was going to be a stage actress. So she's, like I said, she seems to have that snobbish kind of thing in voice. Then she does that, but then she becomes part of New York society and all the parties. And in fact, I was telling Bob, I think the weirdest thing is when you watch them being interviewed by the Ed Murrow interview, I guess, on TV, where they seem to be imitating the characters, because in a weird way, I just know, okay, now she's playing an actress, but who's on television. So now things change slightly, right?
Well, also they were using the recording from the actual show.
Well, at least for him. That's what I'm saying, not her, not them. You're seeing them, but are they imitating them? That's what I was wondering. You know?
Yeah, but the dialogue that would have been copied from that.
Oh yeah, was directly from the show.
It was a stilted show.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. But it still has to do with their delivery, the way they're doing things, and all that. And that's why if that one moment is so different from her performance. So when you say about the accents and stuff, I get that completely. And that's what I said. Is that because she's an actress? Is all I can say.
Well, yes, but in both those scenes are in the beginning, and in the beginning she's talking to him. There's not a lot of people around. She's talking to him.
Right.
So there's no reason for her to put on an accent.
Well, no. That's what I'm saying though. That's why I'm saying you see all these different kind of voices that she uses. That's all I'm saying. I'm pointing that out.
Well,
I'm not going to even defend that because, like I said, to me, it was her humanization of the fact that she could tell. I thought she really brought to the forefront of being conflicted about being in this relationship. That she obviously did have problems because at one point before she sees the guy in the hall, spoiler, sorry, she does have a conversation. I remember with the two friends, right? Said, "Oh yeah, you got to just stick up with it. Be Joan of Arc." And then the one female friend.
I had no idea what they were talking about.
Oh, it was about that. And then that's what made me laugh when the one friend, well, don't forget what happened to Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
And I thought, she sort of has this tragic character.
I just couldn't figure out.
Something's occurring to me on that too, and that is that since she was Costa Rican, she might have actually had kind of a Spanish accent, which she really sort of pushed the kind of British sounding accent. So she would be taken more seriously as an actor in New York.
I think it's called
but she was speaking. She was speaking with an American accent, and then she was speaking with a British accent. I mean, British.
She might just have gotten confused.
Well, she might have been just a little lax that day, exactly. Because
I have one more thing I want to say, but I want to hear George's thing first.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I also didn't like it as much. I thought that they were just going for Oscars. We want to get as many awards as we can. They went very avant-garde with the artsy parts, like the cuts, like they're in the bed and then they're in the theater. And I thought that, he to me kind of, what's his name? That guy.
Leonard Bernstein, Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper. I thought he's some kind of phony. His acting is just overkill. Almost like a play. They were the acting was like a play, and the face was going.
That's right.
And I thought that he was, when he was doing his thing, going crazy, I didn't like that either. It felt kind of fake. It didn't feel like I don't know much about Bernstein, but and actually later I watched some videos of him, conducting, and just to compare it to, and I thought Bradley Cooper was kind of a little overkill, over the top. What was this? So I thought maybe the film had bad editing. Also, because he directed it himself, right? Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
So
I think he directed it, wrote it, acted it,
co-wrote it.
Co-wrote it.
Also, because the movie's called Maestro, I thought it was going to be about his musical genius, like you said, and then we were going to delve into this music making process, like kind of like Immortal Beloved or Beethoven. So, and that's what I was looking forward to. That
movie.
I was looking forward to that. I was looking forward to the movie showing me the process. They did one scene when he's kind of doing writing the notes, but that was it. And then
and
the
you
rest
thought
of
it was wrong.
Oh yeah, I thought that could be wrong, but I thought they did it, but I didn't see what time signature they were doing it. I go, wait,
we had to rewrite that. It was like, hey,
but so I was hoping for that mostly, but then it just became this third relationship movie, and so it didn't work for me as much. And I was saying, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's I thought they just. And also I heard that the family, that the children contributed to the movie, like they were like consultants for the movie,
and had to get the approval of the children.
So whenever your kids are doing it, you only can say so much about your parents or whatever. So they're gonna have a particular take on it, I guess. As opposed to they ask, when they do the unauthorized biography, then you'll get more.
You want what is that called? The
unauthorized biography.
Unexpurgated.
That's what you want.
So that's the Carey Mulligan. I thought she was good at times. Yeah, but I noticed the accent too. It's Bradley Cooper probably was thinking, here comes the Oscar, but when he was doing it, but
there goes the Oscar.
Didn't work for me.
But what's his name? Cillian
Cillian
Murphy.
Yeah, no, he didn't knock him off.
Or Joaquin Phoenix, right?
Joaquin Phoenix, that was going through, right. And then there's DiCaprio,
there were two things I wanted to say. One is, don't not go see Bradley Cooper or Carey Mulligan in another movie.
Yeah,
because they're both great.
Just don't see this one.
The other thing is, like, I had a few years back, I heard a recording of Leonard Bernstein, and it was like he did this thing. He created this program called Concerts for Young People in New York, which was to introduce youngsters into classical music. And that's very valuable. And I didn't really see any of that in this, but there was a thing, I think it might've been from one of those. And he was like talking to the kids, and he just said, it's like, he made this comparison. He said, it's like how everybody was saying when Stravinsky wrote Rites of Spring, he was creating a new form of music. Baloney. And I wanted to hear that guy. He was not.
That was
guy
Leonard
just said-
Bernstein.
That was Bernstein. He said baloney, and the way he said that it was like very New York. And I said, I really like this guy just from the way he said that too. And that part of Leonard Bernstein is nowhere in this movie.
Yeah,
No, he's not there.
I feel like over years I've seen Leonard Bernstein. I mean, I've seen him many times. That character just didn't seem like
Size
Leonard
up with
Bernstein
him,
to me. I know I've never studied him. I know, but he just not like the Leonard Bernstein I ever saw.
Also, was it just me, or when they'd have the shots of him conducting? Didn't he look like a mad scientist from?
Yeah,
the
he did
1930s?
he did not.
Well, but see,
he did not
that's where I
orchestrate like
disagree
that.
because if you watch people conducting, that's how they
Yes,
are.
but
I'm
he-
sorry.
Conducting, they don't
He
look like
didn't
that.
Oh, I
conduct like
disagree.
that.
I
No.
disagree.
But have you seen
we
him in?
watched-
Well, that's what I'm saying. I
But
have
he's-
watched him being conducting, so they're always
No, was it
way
with
over
big-
the
with
top
big,
and everything.
Watch-
broad, goofy,
he-
insane grin. No.
He
Well,
was
that-
extreme, but he
watched
wasn't.
his conducting on. You can watch them. They
Yeah,
have
yeah.
a lot of
No.
he-
Exactly.
on
Oh, yeah.
YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
They should have
And
done
the
that.
big difference is when you're conducting, you're communicating with the band. So when you're making something great, it's like, yeah, right. We're going to do this. You're looking at the band. He was just off in his own world. He was not connecting like when a conductor is talking to the orchestra and they are involved in a united project, like, and you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
You can
And he's
see
the
him
leader.
getting, like,
and there were no
He's
shots
the
of the
leader,
orchestra.
and
It was
he's
like,
supposed to be showing
And it's the
them
makeup too.
where
It was
to
the
come
makeup.
up, where
Yeah.
to go down,
Yeah.
bring it all
Yeah.
together.
and he looks at them.
He's
And
like,
he- Leonard Bernstein
you feel
did
me?
not-
Section? You feel me?
Leonard Bernstein
Yeah.
did not conduct that way. I mean, you can see pictures of him.
He's very.
He was extreme, but not like that. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I
Okay.
mean?
Well, he was very theatric, but he did not leave connection with the orchestra. Which is this guy was like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I'm so.
Which
you
is
know,
why they cut out all the performances.
Yeah.
They just cut to him start to
Let's,
conduct, and
You
then
can look on YouTube. You can watch.
Yeah.
So he's saying this guy was fighting the invisible ninja with his baton?
yeah. So whose movie was Bob's?
yeah.
What do you
Sorry,
think?
folks.
I'm dying to hear the
Okay,
scores.
I thought I'll give them E for effort. I think they were trying to do something. I don't think they did it.
No.
So I give it a 5.
I'll give it a 3.
I give it a 4.
Yeah, I'll give it a 5 as well. Yeah, okay then.
Okay.
Next.
We'll be back.
Couldn't wait to trash that one. What's